Okay, students, so let's start the class now. So we are doing the concept of sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, so for the sexual reproduction in plants, we are discussing the concept of flowers. Flowers, they are the reproductive part of a plant, right? So that means the sexual mode of reproduction, it is dependent on the flowers. And you know, if we study the diagram of the flower, right? So this is the diagram of the flower that I have drawn here. It contains pedicels, sepals, thalamus, right? The male and the female reproductive part that you have also studied in your previous class, right? So the male part, right? This we called as stamen that contains anther, and this is filament, right? So the anther you all know that contains pollen grains. And here the pollen grains, they are the male gametes. Okay, so in the same way, if we talk about the female reproductive part, right? So this is the male reproductive part. And similarly, if we talk about the female reproductive part, okay? So the female reproductive part is pistil. So this I have drawn here pistil. Okay, so this is stigma, this is style, ovary, and these are the ovules, right? And this whole is called pistil. Okay, so this is female reproductive part, right? So here the female gametes, they are present in the ovules, right? So the ovules, they contain the egg cells that are basically the female gametes. Okay, so we have discussed, when we have discussed the difference between the sexual and the asexual mode of reproduction, we discussed this thing that in case of sexual mode of reproduction, right, there is fusion of male gametes and the female gametes. So that means the pollen grains, they will be fusing with the egg cells. Okay, so here I have shown you the diagram of the flower that contain both the female part and the male part. Okay, but there are some flowers that only contain either of the male part or the female part. Okay, so what these flowers are called? So let's discuss these flowers. Unisexual flowers, which we also called as incomplete flower, right? Because such flowers, they contain only one reproductive organ, right? One means either male part or either female part. So those flowers which contain only one reproductive part or organ, that we called as unisexual flowers. Uni means one, or we can say them as incomplete flowers. So their examples are papaya, pumpkin, watermelon, cucumber, right? So these are basically the incomplete flowers, okay? Because they contain only one type of reproductive organ, either the male part, the stamen, or either the female part, the pistil, okay? But there are some flowers that contain both the male part and the female part. right? So they contain both male and female reproductive parts. Okay, so such flowers we called as bisexual flowers or complete flowers. Okay, complete in the sense that they are bearing the male part also and the female part also. So there are various examples. They include rose, mustard, lily, gulmohar, petunia, and so on. Right? So these are the various examples of the complete flowers that bear both the reproductive part, the male part, and the female part. Okay? So this is about the flowers, right? Unisexual flower and the bisexual flower. Okay? So after this concept, we will be moving to the next topic that we call as pollination. Because this is very important in the case of sexual mode of reproduction. Now, what is actually pollination? Now, we know the pollen grains, they are going to meet the stigma, right? So, how they are going to transfer? How we are going to transfer the the pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the pistil? Okay, so this process. So, pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from where they are being transferred, from anther, as the anther it contains these pollen grains. So the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma. Stigma is the male part, female part, right? So the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same or different flower, right? So that means the male gametes. Gametes means the male reproductive cells, they are being transferred to the female reproductive part, right? Or to the female part where it will ultimately meet the female reproductive cells. Okay, so we have to transfer the pollen grains from the anther to stigma, right? The flowers, they can be either same or different. Now here it arises two types of pollination process: self-pollination and cross-pollination. That means if they are transferred to the same flower or if they are transferred to the different flowers. So let's discuss the concept of self-pollination and cross-pollination. So here I will be drawing one more diagram of flower. Okay. So this, I will be drawing now pistil, right? So completing the rest parts, the ovary and the ovules. Okay. So this you have studied in your previous class, right? The diagram of flower. Okay. So I have drawn two flowers here, right? So let's discuss the self-pollination. Right? What self-pollination is actually? Self-pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same flower. Now here the term same is very important. That means the transfer is within the same flower, right? So that means we are talking about a complete flower here, the bisexual flower that contains both the male part and the female part. And there is simply the transfer of pollen grains from the male part to the female part. So here the anther, it will be containing the pollen grains. So they are simply transferred to the stigma. So this we called as self-pollination. So self-pollination, it takes place in case of the complete flowers or the bisexual flowers that are bearing both the male and the female reproductive part. So there is simply transfer of pollen grains, right? Now we will be studying next, right, after this, that how these pollen grains, they are being transferred. Okay. So coming to the next is cross-pollination. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of, now here we are not considering the same flower. We are considering different flowers. Because cross-pollination, it will be taking place in case of unisexual flowers that contain either of the male part or either of the female part. Okay, so that means one reproductive part is there, either the male part or the female part. Okay, so let's show the cross-pollination now. So if we are assuming that here the pollen grains from this flower, it will be transferring to the stigma of the second flower. So in this way, if the transfer takes place from one flower to the another flower, so we call that process as cross-pollination. Okay, so here we are using two different flowers to bring about the pollination process, right? So the pollen grains, they are being transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the another flower. Okay. So as I have discussed that these pollen grains, they will be transferred by some agents, right? So let's discuss what these agents are actually. Okay. The pollen grains, they bear a hard and tough protective coating on their surface, right? And this coating, it prevents them from drying. Okay, so they don't dry easily because they are being covered by a hard and the tough coating. Okay, and also they are very light in weight. So that means they can be easily carried from one to another place. Okay, so now what are the pollinating agents? Agents means the workers who are transferring these pollen grains from the anther to stigma. So the various agents that bring about this transfer process, they can be insects. Pollen grains can stick to their body, right? So in this way, there is transfer of those. Some birds, similarly for the birds, by wind, by water, and by some other animals. Right, so basically for the insects, birds and animals, they might stick to their skins, right? So that's why in this way they can be transferred. And also with the wind and the water. Water, it flows from one place to the another, right? So similarly for the wind, because they are very light in weight, so they can be easily transferred, right? So coming to the next is now we are going to discuss sexual reproduction. So the various methods that involve in case of sexual reproduction, they are firstly pollination, secondly fertilization, and thirdly there is formation of fruit and seeds, right? So in this way, the sexual mode of reproduction, it takes place. It starts with the pollination process, then fertilization is there. So after fertilization, you will be getting a fruit and seeds, right? So before discussing, let's draw the diagram of how the sexual reproduction, it takes place, right? So this I'm drawing pistil, okay? The female reproductive part, right? And for the pistil, you know, this is stigma, this is style, right? Now what we have discussed this, right? That firstly the pollination process will take place, right? So what will happen in case of pollination process? The pollen grains, they will be transferred from the anther to stigma. So let us assume that pollination process has taken place and we get the pollen grains right here on the stigma. Okay. So this is the pollen grain that we get after the pollination process. Now what happens is this pollen grain, right? It will start forming a pollen tube. From the pollen grain, a pollen tube will be start forming. And you know the pollen grains, as I have told you that pollen grains, they contain the male gametes, the male reproductive cell, right? The cells that are going to reproduce. Okay. So pollen grains, they will be containing the male gametes that I'll be showing here. Okay. But you should assume that these pollen grains, they contain the male gamete. Okay. So let's draw the diagram. So you can make it like this. Right. Okay. So here. Like this we have to make. Okay. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So you also prepare like this. Okay. So make the diagram. Firstly, because you can be asked about the mechanism of the sexual reproduction, right? So then you have to draw the diagram, right? Now what happens is, so when the pollen grain, it starts forming a pollen tube, right? From the pollen grain, a pollen tube, it starts forming, right? And that contain the male gametes. So this tube, right, it will penetrate into the ovary and through an opening, it will go into the ovule, right? So what I'm saying is this tube, it will penetrate into the ovary and through a small opening it will enter the ovule, where the ovules, they will be containing the egg cells. These are the egg cells that are basically present in the ovule, right? So let me show you. So after penetrating into the ovule, the tip of this tube, it will burst, right? So the tip, it will burst and it will release the male gamete that further combine with the egg cells, right? So here I am showing the male gamete that will combine with the egg cells, right? So this thing, it will burst out, it will open from here, and when it will open, these male gametes, they will be then fusing with the egg cells in the ovule. Okay, so this fusion of male gametes, that means the fusion of pollen grains with female reproductive cells that we called as egg cells to form zygote is called fertilization. Okay, so what we called as fertilization, so fertilization is basically the fusion of the male gametes and the female gametes, that we called as fertilization. Now you must be curious about the zygote. So what zygote is actually, when the male part and the female part, right, they fuse, they will form a single cell. So zygote is that single cell that basically forms after the fusion process. Fusion of male and female gamete, they will give you a single cell that we called as zygote. Now this zygote, right, it will be further dividing, right? So we have studied about the fertilization. Now this zygote, it will be dividing further to provide you the fruit. Okay, so the zygote, it will divide, and ultimately what is the result of the division? This is the fruit and the basically seeds that are present in the fruit. Okay, so what is the basically result of this reproduction, sexual reproduction? You will be getting the fruits that contain the